Hi everybody, it's Miss Judy. Welcome to Kids Formation. Let's start with looking at our calendar. This was our calendar last week, November 1st. You can see it was a green week in the season after Pentecost. Let's click forward. Here we are for this week. We are still in the season after Pentecost, but look, we are getting closer to our next season, the season of Advent. Now, we won't be having a video of our calendar every week, so if you like keeping track of where we are in the church year, you'll need to use your own calendar at home and just click forward one dot every week. Now it's time for our lesson. The next 3 lessons for Kids Formation are about giving thanks, being thankful, having gratitude. And in the Bible, we find thankfulness all through the Bible. We find thankfulness in the Old Testament, people giving thanks to God. In the Old Testament, we have the book of Psalms, which is like a song book, like a book of poetry. And the book of Psalms has poetry about all sorts of feelings and emotions, including being thankful. In the New Testament, we have letters that were written to the church. And Paul writes in his letters, he says, "Whenever I think of you, I give thanks to God for you." And Paul also tells the church, he tells us, that we can give thanks to God in all circumstances. No matter what, we can be grateful to God. In the Gospels, we hear about people who interacted with Jesus. And in the Gospel of Luke, we read about someone who was grateful. So in Luke chapter 17, we read about a time when Jesus and his friends were traveling along, and they encountered a group of 10 men who were sick with a disease called leprosy. And leprosy was a disease that affected people's nerves and their skin, and it was contagious, which means that other people could catch it. Now, back then, they didn't have the same kind of medicine that we have, and so when people got sick with leprosy, there weren't very many choices for them, and they had to stay away from their town and stay away from all the people that they knew. And so people who all had leprosy would sometimes be together, like this group of 10 men, and they couldn't be close to people. And so when they saw Jesus across the way, they called out to Jesus, "Have pity on us." And Jesus called over and he said, "Go show yourselves to the priests." And so these 10 men, they listened to Jesus and they started traveling to where they could see the priest. Now the priest was the person who had the authority to say, "Hey, you're all better and you can come back to town and you can come back and be with all the people." And so while these men were traveling to the priest, they noticed that they were healed. They noticed that they didn't have leprosy anymore. And you can imagine they were so excited to get to the priest so the priest could say, "You can go back to your town and back to your people." But even though they were all very excited, one of the men, he had a different thought. And he stopped and he went back to Jesus and he said thank you to Jesus. He showed his gratitude to Jesus. So 10 men were cured of their illness, and 1 man came back to say thank you. Now there's an animation of this story, and in the description of this video is a link to that animation if you'd like to take a look. So I hope that as we go through these weeks, that we will remember that we can be thankful all the time and that we can give thanks to God all the time. Take care.